The Mad Dash is on, and tomorrow around this time we will know who are the 10 Republicans making the big debate on Thursday night. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto. And actually, that Mad Dash, if you come to think of it, is for the 9th and 10th positions. The top 8 seem almost secure. But that dash includes right now the likes of John Kasich and Chris Christie and Rick Perry. And right now you are looking at John Kasich. If he's worried about this, he seems very, very relaxed. Mood lighting for a big event in Manchester, New Hampshire, where he's taking questions from backers. But we're going to get into what's at stake and why those remaining positions are still up for grabs in a pole position contest that is simply too close to call. That and the very latest we're going to have, for example, on Puerto Rico. It is technically insolvent. We're going to have the latest on how the markets clawed back today. A very telling story there. We're going to fill you in on that. But first to the political story of the day, and that is who makes those final positions. To the Washington Examiner's Byron York. The Mad Dash, I guess, is on, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, the amazing thing about the idea of Christie, of Kasich, and Perry kind of fighting it out for the last couple of positions, that's 3 guys, 2 positions, is that you have 3 re-elected big state governors, Texas, Ohio, New Jersey, and they're not even sure if they can get into the top-tier Republican debate. I think it's evidence of how deep the Republican field is in this 2016 year.
All right, now we talk about how deep that field is, but they all seem to argue that unless they're in that group of 10, they're lost. But I keep thinking to myself, and smart people like you have told me, it is still very early. The poll positions can change. The top 10 candidates, of course, it's unusual to have so many, can change, right?
You know, I think you're totally right about this, and you know, there have been some disparaging remarks made about the second-tier debate that's going to be on Fox at 5 p.m. It's the kids' table debate, but there may be real advantages to being in that. First of all, they're going to be a pretty distinguished group. You're going to have Bobby Jindal, you're going to have Carly Fiorina. You will have one of those 3, Christie, Perry, Kasich, that we talked about, Lindsey Graham, and Rick Santorum. So there are going to be a lot of pretty heavy hitters at that too. And also the biggest thing is Donald Trump won't be there. And if Trump dominates the debate, if the debate becomes the primetime debate becomes the Donald Trump show, I think it's going to be hard for other candidates to really give voters the impression that they want to give, to make the case for themselves, because everything will kind of be relative to Donald Trump, and they won't have that problem in the other debate.
That's a very good point. Donald Trump won't be at that one, risking sucking the oxygen out of that proverbial room. You know, I think of who we tend to put at that big table, or who we kind of think is important versus not important. If we had such a thing in 1976 among the premier Democratic names running for president, we were sort of fine-tuning who's in the top tier and who's in bottom tier. I don't think Jimmy Carter would have been in that, right?
No, he wouldn't. And you look in the Republican race last time, the winner of the Iowa caucuses, Rick Santorum, was just absolutely nowhere at this stage in the game, and ended up by January of 2012 winning the Iowa caucuses. So I actually asked Newt Gingrich today about this, and he certainly gave some commanding performances in debates back in 2011 and 12, and he said, look, a couple of people from that kids' table debate are going to be very, very strong by the time of the Iowa caucuses, and a couple of people from the primetime debate are going to implode by the time of the Iowa caucuses. So you really can't tell, and I think it's certain that some people in the so-called kids' table debate are not going to stay at the kids' table the whole time.
All right. Now, not that there's anything wrong with that particular table, by the way. Thank you very much, my friend. By the way, a reminder on this that Rick Perry will be our special guest tomorrow on Coast to Coast on Fox Business as we handicap all of that. Before I get to my next story, I do want to let you know it is official. Puerto Rico is insolvent. Puerto Rico has defaulted on its debt. It's a very big story we're following here. It has never happened in Puerto Rico's history. Did not make good on a roughly $60 million payment. Very few people thought it would. Saturday was the deadline. Some thought today would be the day they would try to make good on it. It didn't happen. So Puerto Rico, technically in default. There's a move afoot in Congress now to treat Puerto Rico like a state, like a city, like a U.S. municipality that has the right to file for bankruptcy and sort of redo its debts and filings. I spoke to a former Puerto Rico governor who said that is going to be an uphill battle. But for now, Puerto Rico, our closest neighbor and Commonwealth, is in a world of hurt. And so far, no signs how it gets out of that. We'll take a look at momentarily in the markets and how they reacted to all of that. In the meantime, let's get back to politics and Hillary spending a lot of money, maybe a lot more money than anyone thought at this stage of the game, but she's facing a lot of competition, maybe because she is not certain to be the nominee. Don't say I didn't tell you. I just dismiss the notion she's going to get the nomination. I don't think it's such a slam dunk that Hillary Clinton is their nominee. I'm willing to wager a double quarter pounder on it. Not that you eat that, so it's a safe bet. She will not be the nominee.
Really?
Hillary Clinton will not be the Democratic nominee. Now, my only point was, in all fairness, just to make light of a consensus that is always wrong and the fact that she was unstoppable. She had nowhere to go but down, and she might recover. But now, obviously, given the success of Bernie Sanders and some of these polls and the throngs he's getting at his campaign events, some party luminaries must be sensing blood in the water here. And like sharks, are gathering around. The latest entrant seems to be Joe Biden, who is seriously considering, we are told, challenging Hillary Clinton. Others could follow as well. To the Weekly Standard's Daniel Halper, who says, obviously, Hillary Clinton knows that they are pouncing. I wonder what happens now, though. I mean, if let's say Joe Biden were to enter, this could explain why she is going through a lot of this cash now to reintroduce herself, right?
Yeah, look, a sitting vice president has never lost the nomination for his party in modern political history. So it's not to say Joe Biden's the strongest of candidates. Hillary Clinton still has her strength. She still has her organization. She still has her money. But she needs to be very, very concerned about his entrance. She needs to get her numbers up. Her favorability is underwater nationally. She's not doing well in certain competitive states against various Republicans, and this is a big problem for her. She knows that. She wants to, I think, scare other people from entering the race, and by the way, not lose in any polls to somebody like Bernie Sanders. And so therefore, she starts investing in political ads in the dead heat of August. It's strange, but not crazy if you're in her position.
As you and I have discussed before, a lot of this is built on people who tend to look at opportunities, whether Joe Biden is, or some of you mentioned John Kerry down the road, who see that the so-called inevitable nominee isn't so inevitable, that Bernie Sanders has made gains, that others and other factors are driving up her negatives. Maybe this is the time here where everyone just sort of looks at an alternative or another wish-for candidate, and she survives this. But for now, she's not taking any chances. She's got to spend some money, right?
Yeah, look what happened on Friday. She had all this slew of bad news. Trove of emails comes out. She releases all this financial information that details that she's almost made about $250 million, almost, since leaving the White House with her husband dead broke. And she also released this strange letter from her doctor about her health. So on Sunday night, they declare that they're running these ads. She clearly wants to pivot. She wants to bury all that information on a Friday, start to week off strong by running these ads and having the money to run these ads. It's politics. Again, there's a rationale for this.
Who gets the money? The money, we're told, is accounted for in the party. The passion goes to Bernie Sanders. He's getting a lot of individual monies and little dribbles at a time. Hillary Clinton is getting the lion's share of other dough in other areas. Is it too late for Joe Biden to take it or capitalize?
I don't think it's too late. Politics is such that if you have one rich guy who really wants to fund a super PAC and really wants you to do it, and by the way, if you have the sitting president of the United States, we don't really know where Barack Obama stands these days on these things, but we do know his press secretary has been nothing but nice about Joe Biden's possible entrance into the race.
Particularly today.
So it's possible that he can get this money in this organization. He is starting behind, but he's not that far behind. And again, the sitting vice president, that means something. And that's a lot of power right there.
Yeah, he has very high positives and lower negatives right now than Hillary Clinton. But anything could change, as you often remind me. Thank you, my friend. Very good seeing you again.
Thanks, Neil.
All right, Donald Trump making more controversy over the weekend, but was it so controversial when he simply said he aspired to paying as little taxes as he could? That he spoke as a businessman and the fact that why should I fund a government that blows away my money? Why is that so controversial? We're wondering, too. We'll get into that. And then take a look at what happened on the markets today. I'll tell you, folks, it had been a lot worse. If you see where we finished up about 91 points on the downside, a lot of this was fueled by oil prices. They are coming down. Now, you might not like that at the pump. That is not a guarantee. It's good for example, the Dow. Dominant with big energy themes. Remember, Chevron's in there, ExxonMobil's in there. They were taking it on the chin, largely on the belief that oil prices are coming down, layoffs are mounting, and this seems to echo of a slowdown. Or does it? We're going to look at that because when all was said and done, what had been close to 200-point sell-off turned into, like I say, a relatively tame one today. So you wouldn't know all the drama in between. We also had some news out of Apple today that it hit a seminal inflection point, a 6-month low that triggered still more technology selling. But even that came back as the day ensued. So it's just a mess. It's just one day. We only focus on it because we wanted you to know what was happening throughout the day. All right. We also want to let you know something that is going to be happening later on. A key vote to defund Planned Parenthood. After all those controversial videos and tapes that you've heard, the move to take away the $500 million a year that organization gets from taxpayers. Now, in case you think this is sort of like just a Republican effort to detooth this organization, think again. A prominent Democrat who says, you know what, I'm tired of it too. Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia after this.